Yggdrasil, Chapter 10. Ragnarok. The Tremor of the Tree of Life. Hello, and welcome back to our journey through the branches of Norse mythology. In our last chapter, we witnessed the profound sacrifice of Odin. Hanging from Yggdrasil for 9 nights, he plumbed the depths of existence to seize the secrets of the runes, a desperate gamble to arm the gods with knowledge against a future he alone could foresee. But knowledge, once gained, cannot be unlearned. The whispers of fate he heard while suspended between worlds were not of victory, but of an inevitable, all-consuming twilight. What did the All-Father see that filled him with such dread? He saw the first tremors, the faint shuddering in the roots of the very world tree that had granted him his wisdom. He saw the coming of Ragnarok. The prophecies, long spoken in hushed tones, began to manifest. It started subtly, a chill in the air that even the fires of Muspelheim couldn't warm. 3 winters fell upon the world one after another, with no summer in between. This was Fimbulwinter, the Great Winter, a prelude to the end. The bonds of kinship and society frayed and snapped. Brother turned against brother, and the 9 realms were plunged into an age of wind, an age of wolves, before the world was torn asunder. Deep beneath the earth, in the realm of the dead, the roots of Yggdrasil groaned. The Norns, the weavers of fate who sat at its base, saw the threads of destiny fraying, twisting into patterns of destruction. The water from the well of Urd, which they used to nourish the great tree, began to cloud with visions of fire and blood. The first great sign was a sound, a terrifying, earth-shattering crow from the rooster Gullinkambi in Asgard, its golden cry a desperate alarm. In Jotunheim, the giant's rooster, Fjalar, answered with a blood-red shriek. And deep below in Helheim, a third, soot-red rooster echoed the call, waking the legions of the dead. The cosmic symphony of destruction had begun. It was this cacophony that finally snapped the strongest chain in all the realms. For ages the great wolf Fenrir, son of Loki, had been bound by Gleipnir, a deceptively slender ribbon forged by dwarves from impossible things, the sound of a cat's footfall, the beard of a woman, the roots of a mountain. But no magic could contain a fate so ravenous. With a howl that split the mountains, Fenrir shattered his bonds. His freedom was an earthquake that rocked the cosmos. His lower jaw scraped the earth, his upper jaw tore at the sky, and fire burned in his eyes. The age of wolves was truly upon the gods. At the same time, another of Loki's monstrous children stirred. From the depths of the ocean, the world serpent, Jörmungandr, began to writhe in fury. His colossal movements churned the seas into a venomous frenzy, sending tidal waves crashing against the shores of Midgard. The poison from his breath filled the air, choking the land and sea. Yggdrasil, the great ash tree whose branches held the 9 realms, felt the serpent's rage as a violent poison seeping into its deepest roots. The tree that had stood since the beginning of time, the pillar of all creation, began to tremble, its leaves turning yellow and falling like a final, sorrowful rain. The tremor of the world tree was the universe itself weeping, knowing its end was near. The sky itself tore open. From the south, the fire giants of Muspelheim marched forth, led by Surtr, his flaming sword brighter than the sun. They crossed the Bifrost, the rainbow bridge connecting Midgard to Asgard, and under the weight of their fiery hooves, the bridge of the gods crumbled and fell into the abyss. Heimdall, the ever-vigilant guardian, saw them coming. He raised the Gjallarhorn to his lips and blew a single, piercing note that echoed through all the 9 realms. It was the call to arms, the final warning. The gods knew the time had come. In Asgard, Odin gathered his Einherjar, the spirits of the greatest warriors who had feasted and trained for this very day. Donning his golden helmet and grasping his spear, Gungnir, the All-Father, led the charge onto the battlefield of Vigrid. The forces of chaos converged. From the sea, the ghost ship Naglfar set sail. Made entirely from the uncut fingernails and toenails of the dead, it was a grotesque testament to neglect and dishonor. At its helm stood Loki, freed from his own subterranean prison, his face a mask of bitter vengeance, leading an army of frost giants. From Helheim, his daughter Hel emerged, bringing with her the pale, silent armies of the dishonorable dead. Fenrir raged across the plain, his insatiable hunger a force of nature. Jörmungandr coiled and spat venom, poisoning the very air the gods breathed. The field of Vigrid, 100 leagues in every direction, became the stage for the final, cataclysmic battle. Every god faced their prophesied doom. The brave god Tyr, who had sacrificed his hand to bind Fenrir, faced the monstrous hound Garm, guardian of Hell's Gate. They were a perfect match of courage and ferocity, and they fell together, each the other's end. Freya, the noble god of fertility, faced the fire giant Surtr. Having given away his magic sword for love long ago, Freya fought valiantly, but was ultimately consumed by Surtr's all-destroying flames. Thor, the mighty champion of Asgard, finally met his lifelong nemesis, the world serpent. Their battle was legendary, a storm of thunder and venom. Thor succeeded in crushing the serpent's head with his hammer, Mjolnir, but as the beast fell, it coughed a final, fatal spray of poison. The god of thunder took 9 steps, a final defiant walk, before succumbing to the venom and falling to the earth. And then there was Odin. The All-Father, king of the gods, rode Sleipnir straight towards his own fated destroyer, the wolf Fenrir. For all his wisdom, for all his power, Odin could not escape the threads woven by the Norns. The wolf, whose growth the gods had feared and whose binding they had celebrated, opened its cavernous jaws and swallowed the king of Asgard whole. The light of the 9 realms seemed to dim with his fall, but vengeance was swift. Odin's son, Vidar, the silent god, witnessed his father's demise. Wearing a shoe crafted from all the leather scraps discarded by cobblers throughout time, he strode forward. He placed his enchanted foot on Fenrir's lower jaw, grabbed the upper jaw with his bare hands, and with a surge of cosmic strength tore the great wolf apart. Through all of this, Yggdrasil shuddered. Every blow, every death was a wound to its own body. The fire from Surtr's sword licked at its branches, the poison from Jörmungandr withered its roots, and the sheer violence of the god's end shook it to its core. The tree of life, the axis of the universe, was dying. As the gods fell and the armies of chaos and order destroyed one another, Surtr, the fire giant, fulfilled his final purpose. He swung his flaming sword and unleashed the fires of Muspelheim across the world. The flames consumed everything, the living and the dead, giants and gods, Midgard and Asgard. The earth groaned, blackened, and sank beneath the boiling, hissing waves. Silence fell, the stars vanished, there was only darkness, smoke, and the vast, empty sea. Yggdrasil, charred and broken, finally stood still in the void, a silent monument to a universe that was no more. The great tremor had ceased, and all was quiet. But fate is not merely an end, it is also a cycle. Even as the embers cooled and the world drowned, the prophecy spoke of a new beginning. It spoke of a world reborn, green and beautiful, rising from the waves. It spoke of a few survivors who would carry the memory of the old world into the new. Ragnarok was not just the end of the gods, it was a violent, necessary reset. The death of the old world was the labor pain for the birth of the next. In our final chapter, we will witness this rebirth. We will see what rises from the ashes of Ragnarok and how life, and Yggdrasil itself, finds a way to begin anew in the quiet dawn that follows the twilight of the gods. Thank you so much for joining me on this cataclysmic part of our story. If you've been captivated by the thunderous fall of the gods, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss our grand finale. We're about to see what happens after the end of the world. See you in the next chapter.